Welcome and thank you for attending the first Safety Conference webinar presentation of 2014. My name is Katie Parrish, Editorial Director of Maximum Capacity Media, and your host for today's conference. If you have follow-up questions, comments, ideas, or suggestions after today's event, please feel free to contact me at the phone number or email address on this screen. I'll show that again at the end in case you have some additional questions. Maximum Capacity Media would like to extend a special thank you to the sponsor for today's presentation, Genie. Genie is one of the largest manufacturers of aerial lifting equipment in the world, with products that include a complete line of self-propelled aerial work platforms, portable aerial work platforms, material lifts, booms, scissors, and telehandlers. Genie's success has been based on developing innovative products while offering superior customer support and service over the course of 4 decades. Genie is part of Terex Aerial Work Platforms, a business segment of Terex Corporation. Learn more about Genie at genielift.com. When safety was first introduced in 2007, our mission was to bring lifting equipment users and operators presentations and information to raise safety awareness, introduce best practices, and bring compliance awareness to the construction, rental, and industrial markets. Topics are selected to help provide clarification, unify industry efforts, and help save the lives of equipment operators and workers on the ground. Today's presenter is Scott Owyen, who will be discussing the top 10 safety tips for operating aerial work platforms. Scott Owyen joined Genie in 1983 and has held key positions in manufacturing, training, product management, and outside sales. Today, Scott serves as the Global Training Manager and focuses primarily on aerial work platform and telehandler operator safety training and product training. Scott was also instrumental in the development of the Genie Lift Pro online operator training program, which added online telehandler training to its product suite this week. If you have questions for Scott during the presentation, please type them into the question box on your screen. We will answer all questions at the end of the presentation. Additionally, this presentation is being recorded and can be accessed this week on safetyconference.com, the MaxCap Media YouTube channel, liftandaccess.com, and I will show addresses again at the end of the presentation in case you'd like to visit there later. All right, Scott, whenever you're ready, I'm going to pass the controls over to you, and you can go ahead and get started.
Okay. Oops. Okay, good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us for this very important webinar. As the training manager at Genie, I receive a lot of calls on a regular basis from individuals who are trying to or want to operate an aerial work platform in an unsafe manner of some kind. Whether it's the fact that they are untrained, they're trying to use the wrong machine for the application, or simply attempting to do something that could have deadly consequences, it's very clear that there's a serious need to elevate awareness in our industry of the need for training for both operators and employers. So I'm very grateful for the opportunity to present this webinar today. In honor of OSHA's National Fall Prevention Stand Down, we're pleased to offer the following 10 safety tips for operating aerial lift equipment on the job site. The following operating tips are important steps that an aerial work platform operator can take to reduce the likelihood of a fall from height. Safety tip number 1, of course, the most important step you can take to ensure your safety, as well as the safety of those around you, is to make sure that you have received proper training and familiarization on the specific model of aerial work platform you will be using. In my experience, many people in our industry are very confused about what constitutes proper training. Quite often, an operator will consider themselves trained when in fact they've only been shown how the controls function by another person who may have been equally untrained. Even if they receive valid familiarization on a machine, by failing to receive the general training content, they are missing critical and potentially life-saving information that they need to be able to operate an aerial work platform safely. The American National Standards Institute, or ANSI, is a standards writing body for aerial work platforms in the United States. ANSI has developed strictly defined training requirements for aerial work platforms. These requirements are outlined in their A92 Manual of Responsibilities that is sent with every machine shipped in the United States and Canada. ANSI requires two components of training: general training, which is typically done in a classroom or online and includes an overview of the responsibilities of all parties associated with the operation of aerial work platforms, standards and regulations, hazard recognition and avoidance, pre-operation inspections, function tests, workplace inspections, record keeping, and safe machine operation, among other topics. And hands-on practical training, which includes locating the storage compartment for the operator's manual and the ANSI manual of responsibilities, reviewing the operator's manual and safety signs on the machine, performing a pre-operation inspection and function tests on the machine, demonstrating an understanding of the function and purpose of all safety devices, performing a workplace risk assessment, and finally, operating the machine for a sufficient period of time to demonstrate proficiency on the machine. Once you've been trained and qualified on a machine, you may be required to become familiar with and operate a different type of aerial work platform. Familiarization by a qualified person specifically includes knowing the location of the weather-resistant compartment for manual storage, knowing that the operators and responsibilities manuals supplied by the manufacturer are stored in the weather-resistant compartment, and being familiar with the information in the operators and responsibilities manuals, understanding all control functions, decals, and warnings, and being aware of and understanding all safety devices specific to the model of aerial work platform being used. Here's where it gets interesting. Although ANSI standards are voluntary, OSHA often adopts ANSI standards via incorporation by reference. When these standards are adopted or incorporated, they become part of the OSHA regulation, and therefore compliance is mandatory. Even when they are not incorporated into OSHA regulations, employers are expected to acknowledge them since they represent a consensus on what experts consider safe. Also, not following standards may be considered a violation of OSHA's General Duty Clause, which requires employers to keep the workplace free from recognized hazards. Finally, since ANSI standards are considered best practices, they are viewed as the legal standard of care. Noncompliance can equate to negligence and legal liability in the event of an injury. It's also important to note that you as an operator are personally liable for your actions when operating an aerial work platform. So there are many good reasons to ensure that you are properly trained. Of course, the most important reason to make sure that you have received proper training and familiarization is to ensure that you have the knowledge and skills needed to operate the aerial work platform safely and efficiently. So please make sure that you have received proper training, both general training and hands-on practical training, as well as familiarization on the specific model of aerial work platform you will be using. Always thoroughly read the operator's manual before beginning operation. It contains all the safety information and operating instructions you will need to operate the machine safely and efficiently. If you are in need of operator training, Genie offers several high-quality training solutions to assist you in achieving qualified operator status. The Genie LiftPro Online Operator Training Program combines a web-based course with hands-on instruction at an authorized training center and can be accessed from any internet-connected computer 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. To date, we have trained nearly 3,000 operators using this highly successful program, and we are adding additional training centers weekly. By offering this course online, a much broader range of individuals have access to the opportunity to become qualified operators. By increasing the percentage of operators who have received quality training through this program, we are contributing to the improvement of overall aerial work platform industry safety. Instead of taking an entire day away from the job site to participate in a traditional classroom-based program, operators now have the ability to take the course at their leisure in the privacy of their own home. Once they complete the online program, they can receive the hands-on practical training by a qualified person at the authorized training center where they purchased the course. Also, everyone learns at his or her own pace. Unlike traditional classroom courses, the online program allows the trainee to take as much time as necessary to receive a high-quality and meaningful learning experience. And as Katie mentioned, we are now excited to announce the launch of our new Genie LiftPro Telehandler Operator Training course as well. This program is highlighted today on the Lift and Access website and will provide the high-quality training solution that our customers have been asking for. It's a very time-consuming subject to teach in a classroom setting, and there are no other similar telehandler training programs currently available online. So this is an extremely important program for our industry. Genie Lift Pro Aerial Work Platform and telehandler operator training programs are available through any Genie dealer. Genie also offers classroom-based train-the-trainer courses for aerial work platforms and telehandlers. Genie Lift Pro train-the-trainer courses are designed to help prepare participants to confidently and effectively train others in the safe and proper use of aerial work platforms and telehandlers. Participants receive the latest training curriculum required for operator qualification and training, as well as an overview on presentation skills and adult learning theory. Participants who successfully complete the program will receive a certificate of completion, Genie Lift Pro trainer card, and Genie Lift Pro operator training kit, which includes all materials necessary to teach an unlimited number of students. Genie Lift Pro courses meet ANSI, OSHA, and CSA requirements for operator training. Safety tip number 2. Since each job site may have additional requirements, it's important to always read, understand, and obey an employer's safety rules and worksite regulations, as well as all applicable local, governmental, and provincial regulations that apply to aerial work platform operation before operating the machine. Remember, the safe operation of any aerial work platform is up to you. It is your responsibility as an operator to inform your employer if there is even one thing that will keep you from safely doing your job. Safety tip number 3. Always perform a pre-operation inspection and comprehensive function tests on the aerial work platform before each shift. The pre-operation inspection is a visual inspection performed by the operator prior to each work shift. This is important because very often you don't know where that machine has been or how it's been maintained. The inspection is designed to keep the operator out of harm's way by discovering if anything is apparently wrong with the machine before the operator performs the function tests. The pre-operation inspection also serves to determine if routine maintenance procedures are required. Only routine maintenance items specified in the operator's manual may be performed by the operator, and only if they're authorized to do so by their employer. The operator's manual contains information about how to perform this inspection. You will need to check for unauthorized modifications, damage, or loose or missing parts. If damage or any unauthorized variation from factory delivered condition is discovered, the aerial platform must be tagged and removed from service until it can be repaired by a qualified service technician according to the manufacturer's specifications. After repairs are completed, the operator must perform a pre-operation inspection again before going on to the function tests. Scheduled maintenance inspections should be performed by qualified service technicians according to the manufacturer's specifications and the requirements listed in the responsibilities manual. If the machine does check out, you're ready to move on to the function tests. The function tests are designed to discover any malfunctions before the aerial platform is put into service and to verify that the machine is operating properly. A level sensor, alarm, or any other safety device can't do its job if it has been disabled or if it has malfunctioned. Before you begin testing functions, select an area that is firm, level, and free of ground and overhead obstructions. You must follow the step-by-step instructions in the operator's manual to test all functions, as well as the safety devices on the machine. A malfunctioning aerial platform must never be used. If malfunctions are discovered, the aerial platform must be tagged and removed from service until it can be repaired by a qualified service technician. After repairs are completed, you must perform a pre-operation inspection and function tests again before putting the machine back into service. Safety tip number 4. Always perform a workplace risk assessment prior to moving the aerial work platform to the job site. The workplace inspection helps you determine if the workplace is suitable for safe machine operation. A properly performed workplace inspection identifies potential hazards associated with the work to be performed, assesses the level of risk involved, and defines the methods to control the potential hazards and reduce the risk. It also involves using the most appropriate aerial work platform for the work to be completed. When performing the workplace inspection, you should walk the job site, preferably in the path that the aerial work platform will travel. You will need to look for drop-offs and holes, floor obstructions, slopes, unstable or slippery surfaces, overhead obstacles, power lines, bad weather conditions, the presence of unauthorized personnel, and any other hazards that may exist. Then you must consciously think about and avoid those hazards through all phases of machine movement, setup, and operation. Don't take any chances. If you discover any situation that poses a hazard, it is your responsibility to stop work and report it to your employer. A list of hazards you need to be aware of can be found in the operator's manual for the machine that you are operating. There may be others, so you must be alert and use your best judgment and experience to take the necessary precautions to avoid these hazards and any others that may exist. You must constantly assess the job variables and avoid exceeding the machine's or your own capabilities for the terrain and job site conditions. Safety tip number 5. Always wear the proper personal fall protection when operating or occupying either a telescopic or articulating boom. A properly fitted full-body harness and appropriate lanyard or self-retracting lifeline are required by Genie as well as national standards and regulations. The purpose of the harness and lanyard is to protect an operator or passenger from falling to a lower level if ejected from the platform while traveling or if the machine is struck by another vehicle or object. Wearing the proper personal fall protection may reduce the chances of a fall resulting in serious injury or even death. All personal fall protective equipment, or PFPE, must comply with applicable governmental regulations and must be inspected and used in accordance with PFPE manufacturer's instructions. Never operate a boom without this equipment. Safety tip number 6, and this is actually one of the most important steps in this whole set of slides. Never sit, stand, or climb on the platform guardrails for any reason. According to the International Powered Access Federation Accident Database, of the 53 reported fatalities involving aerial work platforms in 2013, 13 were caused by falling from the platform. The guardrails on an aerial work platform provide fall protection only if the operator maintains a firm footing on the platform floor at all times. Never place ladders, scaffolding, or any other elevating structure inside or against the platform. If an operator is required to reach an overhead work area that is too small for the platform guardrails to allow access to, the use of a manufacturer-approved device that has been specifically designed to provide additional access to confined spaces is recommended. Safety tip number 7. Never exit an elevated boom or scissor platform unless you've been properly trained to do so. Maintain 100% tie-off at all times and are in possession of and follow all of the instructions provided in an approval letter from the manufacturer that provides the proper guidance. Always contact the manufacturer of the aerial work platform you are using for additional information on exiting an aerial platform. Safety tip number 8. Never climb down from the platform when it is raised. Whenever possible, keep a cell phone or a two-way radio with you while you are in the platform. Always have a rescue plan in place. Rescue plans should, at a minimum, include steps to ensure that other personnel are aware that you are operating the aerial work platform and that they have been trained and familiarized to operate the machine from the ground controls, including the use of the ground control override function if equipped. Safety tip number 9. Always keep the platform floor clear of debris. Scrap materials, buckets, large toolboxes, and other items can cause a serious tripping hazard. You should remove any item from the platform that is not absolutely necessary to do your work. Utilize special manufacturer-approved attachments, such as fluorescent tube caddies, pipe cradles, or panel cradles, whenever possible to lift large or bulky items. Only use attachments that have been approved by the aerial work platform manufacturer for the specific machine you are using. And finally, safety tip number 10. Always lower the platform entry mid-rail or close the entry gate before operating the aerial work platform. The entry mid-rail or gate is an integral part of the platform guardrail and plays a critical role in fall protection. Never tape or prop the entry open, and never use an aerial work platform if the gate does not properly latch. The operation of any aerial work platform is subject to certain hazards that can be protected against only by the exercise of intelligence, care, and common sense, and not by mechanical means. It is essential that the operation, maintenance, and service of aerial work platforms is performed only by competent, careful people trained in the intended use, safe operation, maintenance, and service of this type of equipment. Remember, if you don't follow all safety instructions and safe operating procedures, serious injury or even death could occur. So please, always follow the instructions that the manufacturers have set out for both safety rules and operating instructions. If you have any questions regarding any aspect of this presentation, or if you would like information on our Genie Lift Pro Aerial Work Platform and telehandler operator training programs and Train the Trainer courses, you may reach me by email at awp.training@terex.com or by telephone at 800-536-1800. I appreciate you taking the time to join this webinar today, and I look forward to answering any questions you may have. Thank you very much. Katie?
All right, thanks, Scott. Let's see. If you have some questions, please send them over, but I do have a couple questions of my own to start with. I'm not sure if we actually went over this or not, but you and I talked about it earlier about discussing familiarization and training, what the differences are, and I think that's really something we should drive home with these people, is that there is a difference between familiarization and training. Could you maybe go over that a little bit?
Absolutely, I would love to, because you're right. That's one of the most misunderstood concepts, I believe, in our industry. So many operators out there, or people operating the equipment, will tell you that they've been trained. And when you look into it, you find out that they've actually only been familiarized on a machine. And most of the time, they haven't actually received even proper familiarization. So let's say an individual is going to have to operate an aerial work platform in their job. The first step is to actually take an operator training course that includes, it starts out with the general training, and that's typically done in the classroom or online, and that's going to be 3 to 6 hours in length. If someone says they can train you in 30 minutes, they're lying, and they will not cover all the components required to do that. A good operator training course is going to be a minimum of 4 hours. So that's where you talk about the critical items that will save operators' lives. That's where you talk about identifying hazards and avoiding hazards. That's where you talk about the 5 steps of safe machine operation, which are avoid hazardous situations, the pre-operation inspection, the function test, the worksite inspection, and only using the machine as it was intended, picking the appropriate lift for the work to be done. And then you go out and there's a hands-on practical component to the initial training as well, and that is locating the operator's manual, reading the operator's manual, performing a pre-operation inspection on the machine, performing function tests on the machine and testing the safety devices, understanding all the controls on the machine and the decals and the warnings, and then getting on the machine and operating the machine. So there's a lot that has to take place before they actually get on the machine and operate that piece of equipment. Once they've operated the machine for a sufficient period of time to demonstrate proficiency, you want to ensure that they are comfortable with the controls, they know how to make the machine do what they'll need it to do on the job. That's when you can sign their operator card and they can be considered a qualified operator on that piece of equipment only. So if I train somebody in one of my classes and I take them out and I qualify them on a Genie Z45 boom, that is the only piece of equipment that they are qualified to operate. Now they're a qualified operator for a Genie Z45. If they go to a job site and they're asked to operate a different type of equipment, that's where familiarization comes in. They must be familiarized on that piece of equipment by a qualified person on that machine. So it can be a coworker, it can be the safety director, it can be somebody at the rental yard, as long as they're qualified to operate that piece of equipment. And familiarization is basically showing them where the weather-resistant compartment and the platform is, and that the operator's manual and the ANSI manual responsibilities are in that compartment, reading the operator's manual, going over the controls, decals, and warnings of the machine, testing all the safety devices on that machine. And typically when you're performing the function test, you're testing the safety devices on that machine as well, and then operating the machine to show that you're comfortable with the controls. So the initial training is considerably longer. It's going to be 3 to 6, possibly even 8 hours for initial training. Familiarization, depending on the machine, will take anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour. But unfortunately, a lot of the guys that I talk to out there that believe that they've been trained had a driver or a counter guy take them out, show them the controls, and toss them the keys. And as you can see, it's night and day difference between training and familiarization.
Great. As far as training goes, after you've done your 3 hours of training or whatever, how long, does that card ever expire, or is there a time limit on when you need to be trained again, retrained?
ANSI does not impose an expiration period on aerial work platform training at this time. The way the ANSI standards are, once you've been trained, you don't have to be retrained unless you've been involved in an accident or been written up for operating the machine in an unsafe fashion, if the employer determines that you need to be retrained. If none of those occur, your training does not expire at this time. You just need to keep being familiarized on any additional machine that you will be operating. ANSI is talking about changing that and imposing an expiration period at some point in time. But a lot of the companies out there right now will require retraining for their employees, but that's just a job site regulation. It's not part of the standard.
Right. So an employer may require you to retrain it at some point, or a general contractor may say you have to have been trained within the last 3 years or something like that. So you might want to be
exactly
right. You might want to have that knowledge too before making a decision here.
Absolutely, and and I support that too. It's like anything else. You've been, I took my driver's test a long time ago, and I catch myself doing things that I forgot that I shouldn't be doing. After so many years. So it's not a bad thing to be retrained on a fairly regular basis, just to keep it in the front of your mind. Aerial work platforms. When you're trained and you're consciously focused on that, are the safest pieces of equipment on the job site. But if your mind wanders, or it's been a long time and you get complacent, they can quickly become the most dangerous piece of equipment on a job site. So. Okay,
as far as fall protection goes, I'm going to open up a can of worms here and ask what is required. What do you have to do when you're wearing fall protection? What machines do you wear it on? What are the requirements of fall protection? Let's go there.
Okay, it's actually really easy. The only pieces of equipment that you are required to wear fall protection are booms, articulated and telescopic booms. And the primary reason is that there is what's called a catapult effect on a boom that you don't have in a scissor lift or a vertical elevating work platform. In a boom, even in the stowed position, as you're driving along rough terrain, slight bounces at the chassis can equate to a pretty good jolt up in the platform, and some of those jolts can pop the operator right out of the platform. So the fall protection is designed to keep that from happening. And the OSHA wording now is that the operator must ensure that they can't free fall more than 6 feet, and that they cannot hit the operating surface over which they're working. So you have to be aware of most people don't realize that the old standards, the harness and the 6-foot shock absorbing lanyard, if you are popped out of the platform 15 feet in the air or even 17 feet in the air, you could possibly hit the ground, because by the time that shock absorbing lanyard stretches out and you get the flex from the boom from the weight of the operator hitting that lanyard attachment point, they can still hit the ground. So you have to calculate all of those factors in. At Genie, we only use 3-foot fall restraint lanyards in our machines, because we only obviously drive them to test the machines and to load them and unload them. But if an operator obviously needs to work around the platform, move around the platform, they need to be constantly aware of how high up they are. And if they use a self-retracting lifeline, they set it so that it can only free fall 6 feet. And they can't. The nice thing about those is they lock up, so you can't get popped out of the platform. So that's the primary reason for the fall protection. You have that catapult effect that doesn't exist on a scissor lift or a runabout or vertical mast or even a push around. The guardrails are considered the fall protection for those machines, and as long as you keep your feet flat on the platform floor, there's no way you can fall out of the platform on those machines.
Great. You mentioned pre-operation inspection, tests, and worksite assessment. Are there any kind of checklists available out there? I know we've had this question before. Checklists available, general checklists that are out there for people to use.
Well, our Genie operators manuals are very well organized around that. The pre-operation inspection, we identify everything that you should look for in a pre-operation inspection, and then we do have step-by-step function tests that start at the ground controls and test every function on that machine. Not only are you testing the functions, you're learning how the controls operate, and you're also testing the safety devices on the machine all at the same time. And it is a step-by-step instruction. I'm not sure about other manufacturers, but I believe that they pretty much follow the same standard for that.
Great. All right. Well, we've got a quiet bunch today, so I'm going to go ahead and put up my information again. And if you have any questions afterward, I'd be happy to pass those on to Scott. I think he gave us his email address, or I actually pulled that off the screen just a second ago, but his email address and phone number. But if you have any additional questions, the presentation is available. If you'd like a copy of it, just shoot me your email address, and we will get that over to you this afternoon. I have a question now, so we'll stick with these until everybody's done. Question is, if you were standing on the mid rail and fell 3 to 6 feet, how far could the boom actually deflect?
Well, we have to test our lanyard attachment points to 5,000 pounds. So by the time an average person falls out of the platform and hits the end of their lanyard, and depending on the type of boom and how far out it's extended, the boom platform could deflect 2 to 3 feet.
Okay. Does that answer your question, Bill? Yes. Okay. It does. So again, we've got people saying, thank you, Scott. Great job today. Additional questions, please do not hesitate to contact us. We're happy to get you guys the information you need.
Absolutely.
If that's it, y'all have a great afternoon. Thank you, Scott. And
thank you.
We'll look forward to seeing you guys next month for another presentation on, I believe it's on the ANSI standards. So we'll get some information out to all you in attendance today, and make sure that you have the information you need for that as well.
Thank you all very much.
All right. Take care. Thanks.
Thanks. Thank you.
Bye.